Tonight, I'm finally getting to an artist I've been telling myself to profile for a couple of years. Her work is very well respected in the art world, and if you love color, you'll especially love the paintings of Carolyn Cole. Carolyn Cole's work is a wonderful assembly of shapes and hues that always pull together in a cohesive image. Her abstract paintings are built of vibrant, chunky blocks of color, which she applies with both a studied air and an intuitive sense of what will work.
I have studied color a lot, and so I do know what happens with color, but the experience of just doing it over and over again for so many years has made me good with, being able to kind of match up what will work and what won't work, although I make plenty of mistakes. And I will paint over a painting over and over in areas until I like it.
Her work is in major collections, and although she says the first 20 years of being an artist are the hardest, there's no doubt she's now very successful. Yet she became an artist by accident. She was a business major in college.
My sister gave me a bunch of paints for a Christmas present and suggested that I take a class in painting. And so I signed up for a nighttime painting class, and I couldn't believe how excited it was. It was so amazing. By the second class, I had to rethink my whole future. And after that point, I became an art major, and I just never looked back. I've never really done anything since then, besides making art.
Carolyn paints on canvas, but first she always applies a layer of recycled envelopes.
One reason I like these is they're recycled. It kind of has come down to using envelopes. I used to use pages from old books and other kinds of collage materials, but I really liked the grid that I get from using the envelopes. I cut them up into pieces so that they aren't like two-sided. There's just one side to them. They form a beautiful grid, and they have some diagonals where the flaps are of envelopes. And they're a very subtle texture underneath my paintings. Sometimes people will actually buy a painting of mine without realizing that there are envelopes underneath the painting itself. I just do it kind of subconsciously as I go. But to put them at an angle, say, or askew would not work for me for some reason, and I guess I'm just kind of an orderly person.
The grid of envelopes doesn't necessarily dictate the direction of the painting. The color blocks she applies may have very little to do with the new collaged background.
I have a really close idea of what I want, and then I will start with that in mind. It may not end up exactly what I had envisioned, but that's because when I get to a point, I have to make choices, and sometimes the best choice isn't the one that I thought it would be.
Carolyn knows that abstract art is difficult for some people.
I think that a lot of people think that they need to read some sort of deep meaning into them, or they have to, they feel that way, but they don't, of course. It's really just a question of enjoying an artwork for what it can offer you. And if it makes you feel good to look at bright colors or whatever, then that's positive response enough. You don't need to see something in it. Someone told me a couple of years ago he saw a horse in one of my paintings, and I looked at the painting and I couldn't get that out of my head. I had to take the painting after the show was over out of the gallery, and I had to repaint it because I really didn't want that reference, you know.
Before her paintings are ready to go out of the studio, Carolyn spends a lot of time just studying what's up there. She wants a balance of color, shape, and line.
This is just the process that I go through. It's trial and error. I'll probably go over this 5 or 6 times before I'll be satisfied with the colors and the shapes. I want it to have some contrast and to affect me, to excite me, get me excited about the look, what I'm seeing. And I'll work on it until that happens. And sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes a month. And sometimes I'll just sit and look at the work for 20 minutes, half an hour, and then get up and I'll do 10 things to a painting. Sometimes if I need motivation to get up, I'll just say, okay, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do 10 things to that work. I can see 7 or 8 right now that need to be done, and I'll get up and I'll do that, and then I'll sit back down and I'll look at it again. And that's how my whole day just flies by.
And Carolyn paints every day. But when she thinks she needs an artistic break from the canvas, she goes down to her second studio and works on some monotypes.
They aren't as bright as the paintings, but I think that that's just a question of where I'm at right now with the monotypes. They'll be different for a while, and then maybe they'll get more like the paintings.
But whether it's a print or a painting, one rule applies.
If I don't love it, I'm not going to show it to anybody. It has to be something that I really respond to, and I will work on a painting until I get to that process where it really affects me. And I think that if it affects me in a positive way, that it may affect someone else in a positive way. Whether, I mean, not everyone likes the work, and certainly not everyone will like every painting. But I have to like everything that goes out of the studio.
Fortunately, she does. And most of all, Carolyn just loves her life.
I love painting. I love doing art, and it keeps my life, well, it is my life.
Now, Carolyn has work in galleries all across the country, but locally you can see her paintings at Butters Gallery in Northwest Portland. She also has a very good website, CarolynColeArt.com.